Arunava Chaudhuri, and you are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. On Thursday this week, on April 24th, the South Asian Football Confederation, in an official press release, announced that the 15th edition of the SAFF Championship would be postponed from 2025 to 2026. This comes after the terrorist attack in Kashmir, but that had no influence on this decision, even though Pakistan and India could have potentially played against each other. It is rather, the SAFF region, the National Football Associations and their marketing partners not finding the proper format and the proper way to hold the tournament. And I first read a certain portion of the SAFF press release and then try and explain to you what I think, what are the reasons and what needs to be done. And I start in between. The SAFF had decided to stage the prestigious SAFF Championship in a home or away format this year. Preparations had been made accordingly. However, SAFF, our member associations, and Sport5, who are the marketing partners, felt that more arrangement needed to be in place to deliver the competition in a smoother manner. Therefore, we have come to a decision to postpone the SAFF Championship to 2026 so that all our stakeholders and member associations have an adequate time to organize the championship in a grand manner. With 2026 being a FIFA World Cup year, enough attention has to be given to find an appropriate timeline and venue for the SAFF Championship. So there are two or three matters. First, they wanted to make the SAFF Championship like a SAFF version of the Nations League, which you now have amongst other places in Europe, which UEFA organizes. The second option seemed to be that SAFF was considering the normal format of having two groups, a semi-final and a final at one venue. Sri Lanka seemed to be that location in June to be hosting the SAFF Championship, but that also has not seriously worked out. And it seems like SAFF is unclear how to move forward with the format of the tournament. In 2023, I happened to be there for the semi-finals and finals in which India faced Lebanon and Kuwait. And Lebanon and Kuwait were the invitees to have a proper tournament, an 8-nation tournament. But the question now is, how does SAFF move forward? The postponements have happened over the last 3 decades numerous times. That is not something new. But to have that window of having the SAFF Championship every 2 years, finding a space in the calendar to host the tournament is a proper problem for SAFF. And who's the biggest problem? The AIFF and Indian football, because the ISL has grown. There are not many windows. India and the other nations are also now regularly playing in the FIFA international matchday windows. They're playing the qualifiers for the AFC Asian Cup. They're playing the qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup. So therefore, these windows aren't there. The idea of having a Nations League kind of competitions in regard to the SAFF Championship was something which I found very, very interesting. But again, how do you put it together? How do you get it? There is the issue of India-Pakistan even before the latest terror attack, that could have been an issue in regard to those two nations. A neutral venue was proposed, and I had said at the time, if you're doing something like a Nations League, host it in the Middle East, host it in the UAE, in Qatar or in Saudi Arabia, and you'll have a full venue for an India versus Pakistan game. Again, that's a different conversation altogether. Sri Lanka wanted to showcase the growth of Sri Lankan football in the summer. The Sri Lankan Football Federation have been doing a lot of things right, especially the integration of players of origin. But for the South Asian Football Federation, the question remains, why can you not organize your most important tournament properly every 2 years? Either find a proper window for it to host it, that has to be June, or home or away, as they call it. Home and away is how I would have called it. Find a window for it. Host it across a calendar year. Ensure that maybe one match per window is of the tournament. You would nearly finish it. So therefore, to me, once again, not a job well done by the South Asian Football Federation. They need to get the act together. I'm not even going to talk about the club championship that they've been speaking about in the last 2 decades, which have never been held. But SAFF needs to work on it. At least the youth competitions, at least the women competitions, are held properly. But the men's senior championship needs to be done as well. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Do you have anything to add? Write those down in the comments below. And as always, like, share, and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very soon. Arunava Chaudhuri signing off. Bye for now.